Hey everyone, while I'm out, I'm just going to have you do a few more optimization problems. So, just to kind of reiterate, we had finished the end of class by identifying our radius, cube root of 200 over pi. If you do the first derivative test and turn that into a decimal, you end up seeing that it goes from a negative to a positive. Therefore, it is a minimum. And this was asking us to minimize our surface area. And so our radius is 3.993. And then if you throw that into the height equation, you should get 7.986 or something similar. All right. With that said, we're not going to worry about example 4. Example 3, I just want to kind of sketch a picture for, and then I'll have you do the one similar. So here we've got a rectangular page. It's got 24 square inches of print. And so if I'm thinking about square inches, I know that's an area. And then it's asking about what are the dimensions of the page to use the least amount of paper. So a little bit confusing in the wording, but basically it's telling you that you have this interior piece that contains print, and that's 24 square inches. You've got 1.5 inch margins on the top and bottom, so from here to here is 1.5 inches, same down here, and then you have 1 inch margins left and right, so you got 1 inch from side to side here. So in other words, if I call this side X and this side Y, then on the exterior, it's going to be Y plus 3 for this whole side length, because I have this 1.5 inch, 1.5 inches, and this Y in between. And then similarly, when I'm going side to side here, I've got X plus 2 because I have a 1 inch margin on each side. So that's where my X plus 2 comes from. So basically, it's asking about the dimensions of the page. So my primary equation here is going to end up being an area equation based on X plus 2 times Y plus 3. And my secondary equation is also going to be area, but it's going to be based on the area of print. And since they're telling me the area of print is 24 square inches, I know this, and then it doesn't really matter which variable you solve for. In this case, I'll say X is equal to 24 over Y. All right, well, if all that's true, then I go back to this equation here, and I really know it's 24 over Y plus 2 times Y plus 3. And then I think in this case, you could do a product rule. Might be a little bit annoying. I'm not sure distributing is much better, but I'm going to take care of distribution, and we'll see what happens. So 24 over Y times Y will just be 24. And then I'll have 72 over Y. And then I'll have 2 times Y and 2 times 3. So really, I'll get the area is equal to 30 plus 72 over Y plus 2Y. Now, if I take the derivative of that, that's going to go to 0. This one, I'm going to treat as 72y to the negative 1. So the derivative of that's really going to be negative 72y to the negative 2. And then the derivative of this is plus 2. If you're not quite sure why there aren't any y primes, remember we're taking the derivative in terms of our secondary variable. So really I'm taking d dy of both sides. And so because I'm taking the derivative in terms of y, there's no y primes left over. So what I'm trying to figure out now is, when does 0 equal negative 72 over y squared plus 2? Or if I keep this going, really, got negative 2 is equal to negative 72 over y, negative 2 y squared equals negative 72, or y squared equals 36. Kind of going all over the place here, but basically that's going to mean y is plus or minus 6, but we're talking about paper, so the negative version doesn't really matter. So we're really just talking about 6. All right, well, if I first derivative test that value, test 5 and 7, well, if I throw 5 into this, negative 72 over 25, it's going to end up being a negative number. And if I throw 7 into this, it's going to end up being a positive number. So that confirms that y equals 6 is a negative. So that means this vertical dimension is going to be 6 inches. And then if I take this and I throw in for y, 24 divided by 6, x is going to be equal to 4 inches. All right, and there's my final conclusion. And it's backed up that I get 4 times 6. But remember, the question is, what are the dimensions of the page? So the page dimensions is going to be 6 plus 3. So 9 inches by 4 plus 2 is 6 inches. All right, and that's my final answer. All right. I'm assigning some textbook problems. If you need extra textbooks, there are some over on the counter. Feel free to share and shoot me an email if you have any questions. All right, have a good weekend.